Hi Deirdre here, and we're going to take a look at creating a pivot table. So a pivot table is one of the new tools, not that new really, a tool that's available in Microsoft Excel, and it's really good at summarising large volumes of data. So again, this information is set out at the moment as a table, and a table is where you've got the headings up the top and you've no blank rows and no blank columns. So this is already set up as a table. So we've got in the first column, we've got the salesperson, then we've got the region, then we've got the account, and this happens to be a number, but you couldn't add or subtract this. It's like your bank account number. You can't add and subtract them. It just happens to be a number. The order amount. Now, this is something you can add and subtract, and it's important to identify what aspect of your table can be calculated. And this whole table, there's only one column that can be calculated, and that's order amount. And then the last column we have is month. So without ado, let's go and create a pivot table. So we click on Insert, and we click on Pivot Table. And you'll notice the dancing ants automatically go around the data. That's perfect. That's exactly as we want it. It's now saying to me in the second half of this screen, where would you like to put the pivot table? So the place we'd like to put it is into a new worksheet. So we'll click on OK. So I just brought in the tasks again so I could see what I'm trying to do here. So the first thing it's asking me to do here is to create a pivot table, and the first thing you have to do is put in the order amount. So that when you choose something for values over here on the right hand side, in the values area, it must be something that can be added or subtracted, and it makes sense to add and subtract. So looking at the options we have, which is salesperson, region, account, order amount and month, there's only one thing there that you can add and subtract that makes sense, and that's order amount. Now there's little tick boxes there. I don't actually use them. All I do is I click on order amount and I drag it down into, sorry I did too slow there, you just click and drag it down into values and it goes in down there. Now whatever you want on this side, that salesperson, you just put down here in rows. So you just click and drag it down into rows. And over here you can see I've created, it's automatically summarised it for me. It's given me the sum of amount and it's given me the person over here. Okay. Other things we could do is we could sort it. So right mouse click here and click on sort and go, for example, largest to smallest. And you can see it's been sorted that way. Right mouse click and sort smallest to largest and go the other way. So again, very little simple interactions there. Okay, so this time it's asking me to replace the salesperson with month. Okay, so over here we just click and drag out the salesperson and we click and drag in the month. And you'll notice my original table that was working perfectly has now changed. That's okay, that's the way this exercise works. That's perfect, we've done that. Okay, add the field region as a column. Okay, so here's my column here, and then I click and drag it in as a column. And you can see here, we've got month over here and we've got region over here. And you can see it listed out there. That's perfect. What's the next thing I'm asked to do? We've done number 4. Number 5, add salesperson as a filter. Okay, so here I've got filters down here, salesperson, drag it in as a filter, and let's take a look at how that works. So now we have a filter up here. At the moment we're looking at everybody, and we could, for example, look at Kathy Albertson and click on OK. And now we're just looking, Kathy is obviously in the East region, we're just looking at Kathy. So we could, for example, choose Richard and OK, and Richard is in the West and we can see Richards. So again, this is a very handy tool. And hit on OK. There is an option in here, select multiple, and we could, for example, just choose particular ones. So untick select all, and we could choose maybe 2 people at once and click on OK. And you can see that particular one. Okay, so the next thing then, number 5, next thing I've been asked to do is add salesperson as a slicer. And then just look at Sharon Thompson. Okay, so again, click on the pivot table, and then we want to add in a slicer. So let's go to pivot table, analyze, and then click on insert slicer. Okay, we want it as a slicer, so we put in the little tick box there for salesperson and OK. Now this works exactly the same way as a filter. It's just a little bit handier to do it. So for example, we could let's just put this one back to all and OK, and then we can just use this here and we can click. So it's just a slightly handier way. It's the same functionality, exactly the same functionality as filter, but this is called a slicer. So it's really handy to put that in. Okay, so we've done number 6. Number 7, clear the slicer and create the following pivot chart. Okay, so we want to clear that, so we'll hit the X on that. Now we're looking at everyone and we want to insert a pivot chart. So exactly like we would insert a regular chart, just click on insert and then look for pivot chart. Okay, in this case we'll just accept the default and click on OK. Okay, and that's us done with a quick intro to pivot tables.